And Pie starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines, 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. And away we go. That's Ira, that's Corey, and I think we're good. Say hello, boys.
How's it going?
Hey!
What up? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Great.
You're on camera. Everybody's in view. We're good.
Special Thursday, Seminole Headlines.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of travel. We were in Charlotte. Then you went down to Miami. We were covering practice. We had a lot of different guys moving around, but we're all together now, and that's a reason to say yay, sausage. Yay, sausage!
It was a BOGO week, guys. I hope you took advantage.
Corey, I didn't. I should have.
What in the world?
But I also want other people to take advantage.
You were afraid
you don't.
You're going to take all the sausage?
Yeah, I don't want that.
Man, apparently, if this went well, I think there's some talk that maybe another expansion of the Register's brand.
My
different
God,
parts.
guys,
what does that mean?
Are we getting the feeling that we're not getting our fair share?
Like another type
what
of
is
sausage?
going on
that's
with
not
this?
the point. That's not the point of my
just
message.
continue to build
Every
an
time you
empire
bring that up,
on the backs of these three gentlemen.
Jeff just wants more
My
money.
God.
It's also the quality of the sausage, guys.
I'm not doubting that.
I think
That's why we brag about it.
I feel like we're the assistant. We're the Stockton. We're not the Malone. I think Register's
John
is the
Stockton
Malone.
was paid handsomely.
But yeah, they had another BOGO sale at Publix. I'm sure they're going to have a couple more this fall. So get excited. Jump on it when you get the chance. If you're in this part of the country, if you're in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, up to North Carolina, parts of it. Now, sometimes we got a little heat last week on Twitter.
Oh, did we really?
Yeah, when I said it was BOGO, and like some people started coming at me, well, you don't have it in this store. We don't have, and I'm like, no, you got to talk to the meat manager.
Yeah,
that's not how this works.
Are you
come at us.
Are you personally taking heat from people out there about whether or not they've sold out a Register sausage in that particular?
They've said things like those guys on Headlines have said like, oh, it's available in Myrtle Beach or it's available wherever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it may be in some stores.
Yeah, but not all.
But again, am I the meat manager?
No.
Are you the meat manager?
I am not the meat manager.
That was my nickname. My nickname in college.
Yeah.
But
you worked hard to shed that.
Not anymore, though.
No, I'm not a meat manager. I don't think I've ever actually talked to a meat manager or met one.
If your store doesn't have registers, talk to the meat manager. Don't get mad at us.
Send Ira a lengthy email.
That too will help.
He loves them.
Yeah, that gets stuff going.
But if you live in different parts of the country, or if you don't want to fight with your meat manager, go to registermeats.com. The website, they'll deliver it to you. Comes fresh, delicious. All the different varieties. You can get the sampler platter.
Plaque would be interesting. Here's a plaque of samplers.
The sampler pack and all the different varieties, and you can have delivered to your home.
I will tell you, and this is the last. I mean, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck right now, Registers. I just gotta tell you, I actually almost had a discussion with the meat manager at a local Publix here.
Really?
Because 2 times in a row, I went over to get some Register sausage, and they were sold out of every one, which is a credit to Register sausage, except the plain ass Register sausage. Like I want the heat.
We've had some. Well, yeah. Kim's not a big fan of the heat, so we'll do the plain. We'll do the sorry ass plain, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I didn't call it sorry ass.
What'd you call it?
Plain ass.
Plain ass.
It's no, it's not sorry. It's just plain. I want the heat. So I'll tell you what. I'll drop it by. You give me the heat, I'll give you the plain, and we're good to go. We'll exchange. All right, so practice has begun, and right when we're coming on the air, see, this is good that we do it live now. For years, things would be dated. They just got another commit, 4-star wide receiver, Rock Hill, South Carolina. And by the way, that's one of the very few nice places in South Carolina because it's nearly North Carolina. That said,
former home of Keith Cottrell. He coached the baseball up there.
That is correct.
D. Feaster, the great Feaster.
Yeah, that's correct.
Rock Hill, South Carolina, too.
I like Rock Hill. Good coffee, clean, decent roads. It's like you're not in South Carolina.
Decent roads.
That's tough. I mean, that's
in the state of South Carolina.
Because you're seconds from North Carolina. I'm telling you, that's what it is. We just saw it. I was just in Rock Hill. Lovely.
Yeah,
just saw Rock Hill. Anyhow, the point is, I don't think anybody expected Florida State to get this receiver today. It's like came out of nowhere, which is really cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a guy that Florida State had been recruiting for a while, but he for a long time. And I think there was a chance they thought they were going to get him. And then Steve Wilfong from On3 tweeted this morning that he's going to announce today. But we were all at football practice, so we weren't really paying attention to that. And then sure enough, he did announce.
Bam.
As soon as right after we got out of practice.
So it's another 4-star wide receiver. What's this guy's 6'2", 6'3", something like that. And I would say that another top 300. They're moving up to, I think, 7 now in recruiting now.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you think about it, the people that are ahead of them, most of them have many more in terms of total number. So the quality of player that Florida State's getting right now is exceptional.
It's a good time to do it too, right? Because aren't roster limits about to go up by 20?
They are.
So you still can go get your 10 or 12 transfers.
Just go get them.
But it's Malik Clark, and he's now the third big-time receiver. They have C.J. Wiley and Dylan McCutcheon are the other two. So three essentially blue-chip wide receivers in this class.
I know what a lot of people are thinking, and no relation. We're not family members. There's no blood between me and Malik, although, similar speed. Similar athleticism, right? Yeah. We're not related.
Laterally, not straight ahead speed.
Lateral quickness is
that's very similar.
He gets all asked. I'm sure Malik gets asked all the time.
I think he gets asked more about, are you related to Brady Clark? Is Brady Clark your brother?
Right.
But that isn't it. He's not there either.
Nope.
But he's supposed to be a fast one, right, Ira?
I don't think anybody that's a blue chip receiver is slow.
But
my guess is.
But speed being the main characteristic, like elite speed, like Malik Benson. That's his biggest trait. Speed.
Trait is speed.
Yeah. And man, he looked good today, by the way, if we want to talk about what we saw today. I liked Malik Benson a lot today. I didn't see a whole lot on Wednesday.
This is the danger of going all in, the good and the bad on one day as opposed to the next. Because I agree with you. He didn't do anything yesterday. He was great today. But I mean, that's
football. But it's good to see that what he did today is there, because it reminded you of what he looked like in the spring.
We all play different roles in the way that we view practice in this team and players and coaches and seasons, and we all bring something to the table. That's why it's a fun show to do. I love that you're quick to worry guy. You've always, especially with receivers, you're a quick to worry guy. This is not a criticism. It's not even a veiled criticism.
Right.
If a guy has a bad Tuesday, Corey is concerned.
Well,
Wednesday, he's good to go.
I think I'm a little more reactionary. Like
I was going to say,
I don't think it's quick. I don't think it's concerned, because I'm reactionary when they have a good day too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was consuming the content yesterday from afar. I was out of town yesterday.
Yeah.
Missed the first day of practice. Flying in? First time. No, at that time of day, I was getting ready to go to the game last night.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so I'm reading all of this stuff about Brock Glenn from you guys.
He was great.
And hearing you guys about Brock Glenn, I'm thinking, I'm going to go to practice tomorrow, and Brock Glenn is going to look like Peyton Manning.
Didn't happen today.
It was odd.
Yeah.
It was odd that.
So he did have a good day yesterday.
Oh, he had a phenomenal
We're allowed
day
to talk about and write about that they had a good day, and it doesn't mean, well, God, Brock Glenn's going to be all these
no.
I think if you look at some of the responses on our message boards, it was like, I told you, DJ can't play.
But that's not my fault.
Yeah, that's
I think some context is making sure we have
if one
context.
plays better than the other, I'm allowed to say one played better than the other on that day, and then also add the context of this is not a QB controversy. This is DJ as your starter. It was good to see Brock Glenn have a good day, which he did.
I think all of us put the caveat out there that it's day one. That guy happened to play great on day one. May not mean anything. It's just nice to note that he did yesterday. And he did. Who knows? I think they'll take turns.
But I wouldn't say, I don't think that's a fair characterization. I'm not a quick concern guy. I am a reactionary both ways, because I go over the top. This guy's going to be awesome just as well as I do. This guy can't play. Yeah. I go both ways.
Okay, fair enough. It was not a criticism. I just noticed that if a receiver has a bad day, and there are times, like if you string together bad days, we all collectively get a little concerned.
Well, I think it goes back to and this is, it's a beautiful thing that we get to watch practice, but I do think we need to exercise some judgment when it comes to like the overreaction, because guys drop passes and then we report it and then people freak out. And it's like, man, people drop passes. Yeah, it happens.
But if they do it in the overabundance, you have to say that too.
For sure,
but that's the fine line, because I think we're all up against that line. Like we all have to figure out, when do I say, because we're also paid for an opinion in this setting. Like when we're having a conversation, you can give it an opinion. Sure. We're all giving opinions. When do I decide, like officially, I'm worried about somebody, or I'm not seeing what I need to see, right? Because like what your point is, the second you voice that, there is going to be a reaction. People are going to say, well, geez, man, that's.
It just needs to not be the first few days in shorts. That's where we need to.
Yeah, but then what am I out there for if I can't say this was a great player? This guy had a good day. I'm not, again, I listened to a great podcast with Eddie Murphy. He did an hour-long interview with it was New York Times. I don't know what it was. It's a really interesting podcast because he doesn't do those long interviews much. And he talked about he can't really care about what the audience thinks. If it's funny to him, it's going to be funny. That's how he lives his life. another example where Corey Clark and Eddie Murphy are similar.
And just another.
There's
one
plenty.
of many.
One of many.
So,
but I write what I see. I can't be like, well, I don't want the audience to think that DJ's not the starting quarterback. It's like I'm there to write what I see. And today, Malik Benson on 2 straight plays sprinted past Fincherell Cypress for a long completion, and then sprinted past Zaire Thomas for what would have been a long completion, and the throw was a bit overthrown. That to me is like, it's not saying that number one, those 2 corners are bad.
Right.
It's a
nice moment. It's a nice moment
for
highlight
for Malik Benson and showcasing again that speed. I put it out there. The audience does what it wants. And again, I know we think about the audience and the people on our message boards, but if you're taking what I say on day one as a quarterback controversy or DJ can't play, man, that's on you. That's not on me. You know what I mean? Like that's you as a person that thinks one day where DJ didn't play great. And again, wasn't terrible. He didn't throw 9 interceptions.
Right.
That's in shorts again against the first team. That's you making that assumption. I can't handle. I can't be. I don't disagree
with you.
Again, because I'm like Eddie Murphy. He knew the Nutty Professor was going to be good.
We've always said that.
People didn't think they needed to see him dressed up as a fat woman, but he did.
I thought it should have been you and Boomerang, honestly.
Boomerang.
Yeah, that's classic. Classic.
That was Halle Berry, right?
Yes.
Like, gosh, I would have done anything.
Literally
anything.
All of us.
Halle Berry.
Robin Givens is also in that movie,
and Halle Berry is so gorgeous. Yeah. That Robin Givens is overshadowed by
I remember thinking the same thing. I'm like, Eddie, I know who I'm going with.
Yeah.
I
mean, holy moly.
The young folk on YouTube, you just have to look it up.
They're like, who the hell are these people?
Robin Givens, absolutely, they probably are. I think they still know who Halle Berry is, but oh my goodness.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So my point is we need to check ourselves, I think, is all I'm saying is like we need to make sure we're constantly checking ourselves because again, these are all just data points, which are valuable.
Yeah.
But they are part of a bigger picture. And the reality is, because they're going to put on pads tomorrow, it sounds like, or the
shells, right? I mean, I don't think they're going.
Sure.
But they'll thud. I mean, it'll be more like real football.
Then they'll start getting after it.
And again, the temptation will be a guy loses a rep or a guy wins a rep. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this guy looks, again, we just got to remember it's a long camp. Is all I'm saying.
I know this.
This is not just you guys, it's
right.
Me and everybody. We just got to remember that it's a long camp.
This one thing that happens every year, no matter who it is that day one is exciting for everybody because it's the start of a new season. So you get out there and everybody's pumped up. But when you go to day 2, you're like, yep, ready for pads. I mean, like you're done. Day one gave you weren't going to learn a lot more today than you did yesterday, right? Guys could have good days, bad days. That changes, right? But until they get pads on, you cannot assess a single thing about the offensive and defensive lines until they have pads on. What's the point?
Right.
No, they're not.
Unless you're going to break down technique, there's nothing you can say.
No, the nice thing is though, especially some of these newcomers, like when you see Mekhi Danzy and he gets the ball in his hand,
fast.
I mean that's
they got wheels,
something different.
So that you saw that last. Were you there for the last play?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to describe it in my observations. I think I described it the right way. Like I think it might have been a tackle for loss. It was hard to say. Somebody was in the backfield.
From where
I watched the replay on the screen. It looked like it might have been a tackle for loss. But either way, he kept running, and holy moly, like him getting to the edge,
and
he's not a small.
Yeah, he's not small. Yeah. They've got some dudes with wheels now. You wonder how quickly all those guys get acclimated. It's exciting. Dave writes this last year. There was talk of burning down Snuggy Hill. Couple of days before the game, you sounded nervous. A fan might not know you were joking. Scale 1 to 10, how nervous you were. Anything less than 5, and I won't believe you. I don't think we actually thought anybody was going to burn down Snuggy Hill.
That was the time to do it, though, because there were more Florida State fans there than Wake fans. They overtook the stadium.
I think little of people in mass in general. So I guess I'm always at an alert of 5 for people being literalists.
Yeah. I don't.
So like I always think we caveat just in case there's a literalist out there. Just because we know that there are people like that. Right?
Well, right.
In society, there just exists.
Well, the Herb Street thing in Ireland.
The Herb Street thing is the biggest one. We talk about how it's okay to voice your displeasure. We talk about how it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to hurt somebody.
Or his dog.
I'm assuming that 99% of the people understand that.
Right.
But there's 1%.
Or to throw things at the meat manager. For years, we've been saying, guys, It's too far. We don't go that far with the meat manager.
But if somebody does, I don't blame you for it either. It's their overreaction,
they have to take
not
responsibility for their passion for sausage.
Yeah. But DJ had a good day today.
He did. He looked good. He was the one that threw the one to Malik on the first play. And he had a really good throw. You know, he's looked good the first 2 days, I thought. And again, Jeff is right because the pads is what matters, especially at this position. But Morlock has been really good the first 2 days.
He has been.
And he had a big catch in, I think it might have been 7-on-7, like a 35-yard, maybe 11-on-11, but from DJ, really nice throw. They got a nice connection so far, DJ and Morlock.
And Morlock talked after practice today, and you guys can go watch that video on Warchant YouTube. Or on the website, but he talked about just like last year coming from Division II, he was just used to Division II. He was just bigger and stronger and faster than most of the guys he was going against, probably all the guys he was going against. So last year it was just learning that how much the details matter in terms of route running, getting low in your brakes, all the little details that take you from an average or a good receiver to a really good receiver, and it looks like you're seeing signs of it.
He's bigger too.
With practice, but
he's also bigger. He's gotten bigger, which is great because I want to see him block. He's got to be able to block, and that way you're not giving it away when you line up. People don't know, but that talking point, that insight you just gave, Ira, that's what I always like hearing when Mike says this because he's not subtle about it. Like the difference between whatever it was you did at some small college or high school is that now you're going against real athletes. These are dudes everywhere here. And if you're not technically sound, you can't get by. And that's the hardest thing. Like a lot of times I think that's what we're watching, the three of us and everybody else covering. Like think of a guy like Hakeem what were you going to do with him in high school? If you were an opposing defensive back and that dude is across from you, you're dead. Yeah. He's 6'4", 6'5", with that size. He's going to high point everything. You're going to lose. Well, it doesn't work here, Hakeem. Everybody here is long, can jump, can really run, and they're all strong. Now, every aspect, it starts with getting in great shape, which he did. Then now it has to become about the right footwork, everything about that, what you're talking about. It's cool to watch it when the light bulb goes off, though, is my point. Like watching Morlock, it's pretty awesome to realize that 6'7" works no matter what. It worked last year. Yeah. It'll work even more if you do everything right.
Yeah, I mean, that pass that you wrote about in your observations, the pass over Omar Graham, was a great pass, but it was also like Omar Graham's just a normal-sized human being.
Yeah.
Like if Morlock was 6'1" or 6'2", it's probably a contested catch.
Yeah, if a catch at all. Yeah.
But
because Graham had good coverage.
Yeah, he was right there.
Such a big target.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about all this, like I mentioned that Cypress got beat by Benson on like the first play of one-on-ones. Cypress had a really good day after that. He had a couple PBUs. He had what I thought was an interception. I'm not sure because it might have been, he might have fumbled it before he actually came down with it, but he was awesome after that. And it's like, man, the competition that these guys get. And that's just the beauty of it. Like they go up against good players and that makes you better. Clearly. I have a phrase for that. I'm not going to use it again because people have heard it.
Is it something like iron?
It's something about iron, but I don't need to go into it.
Yeah.
But man, there is a reason I came up with that saying. Because it is the absolute truth. Those wide receivers are getting great looks from those DBs. Those three corners, Quindarius, I throw in there too. They've had really strong starts. Again, not in pads, but they are going to test those wide receivers and make them better. Because if they don't get better, they will be embarrassed.
Yeah, and it's hard sometimes to even know because the corners have been so good. I think the corners are so good, especially right now. But it's hard to know sometimes if the quarterback's throw isn't right or the receiver route wasn't right. But a lot of times the DB's in perfect position. I really like the young corners. I mean, Kai Bates, Charles Lester.
Lester had a good
impressive.
day. Yeah, and Bates has been good the first 2 days.
I think they're going to be really good there for a long time to come. They've got so many guys. It's layer upon layer.
Edwin Joseph.
Yeah. They've got a lot of dudes out there that you think, they're going to be good at some point. I don't know how much they contribute this year, but they're going to fill roles. And so your two starting corners are studs. I have a suspicion that everybody will be relieved when the games start. If you're a receiver, you can't wait to go against somebody other than these corners.
Yeah, that's what's
and
so good. This is what good teams look like.
Yeah, that's got to be tough on a daily basis because they also know the plays. It's like, man, they're talented, they're long, they're athletic, and they know the plays.
And
good luck.
Imagine being in the middle of the offensive line once pads come on and getting to block people
other than
Josh
Jackson.
Farmer and Daryl Jackson. Man, that's going to be fun too.
You're like, sweet Jesus, I have to go against a first-round pick. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Join us at Café de Martín on Saturday, July 27th, as we celebrate Peruvian Independence Day with live music, delicious and authentic Peruvian cuisine, fresh handmade cocktails, and an atmosphere full of love and celebration. Live music all day starts at 12 noon with the mariachis, continues throughout with the lovely Paula Sofia, and closing the night with David Fonse. Come celebrate Peru Day on Saturday, July 27th at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's premier Peruvian dining experience. Find out more online at cafedemartin.com.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the Battle's End. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable. Here's what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
Summer festival season is going on now at Chawan Korean Steakhouse, and that means prizes and giveaways every single day for guest dining between 6 and 7 p.m. Bring all your friends and family, and every dinner purchase between 6 to 7 p.m. is an entry to win exclusive giveaways like 55 and 65-inch TVs, iPads, earbuds, and gift cards. Winners are picked at 7 p.m. every single day while supplies last. Don't miss out. It's the Summer Festival at Chawan Korean Steakhouse, Tallahassee's most unique and interactive dining experience.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Well, what do we think is going to happen when the pads are gone, guys? What's the first thing you're going to be looking for? What are you most interested in? Because we do get it, as Ira pointed out, here soon. Once the shells come on, even if it's not full pad, they start kind of hitting. We start seeing a little bit more there. And then from there, you know, it's weird that we don't get we're not allowed to watch it anyhow, but we don't get a scrimmage for like 2 weeks, right?
It's sometime next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to me, it's just, I watching today, I just keep finding myself focusing on the same positions. It's like receiver, safety, linebacker. Like those are where, because I feel like everywhere else, I feel like I have a pretty good idea. So in linebacker, it's like, what does Cam Riley look at? It was cool to hear Shaheem Brown, or no, it was somebody else talked about, it might have been, Shaheem talked about, he was asked about Cam Riley today, and he said the first player run practice that Cam Riley came to in the summer, he was just like, the way that size to run the way he runs, it was like, whoa, that dude's different.
6'5", 245, and if he can move, and Mike called him smart yesterday, said he's a quick learner. You got something there.
That would be
you
positive.
would think, though, just to play devil's advocate, if he is 6'5" and 245, he can move really well and is smart.
I think he's like
Norvell
237.
Yeah, the latest one was 237.
What was holding him back?
So he went through 4 defensive coordinators at Auburn.
All right.
So he
That's a
started,
toughie.
and he started 2 years
Lawrence
ago.
Taylor, he could have gone through 100 defensive coordinators. He'd have
I don't
been
think
fine.
anybody thinks Cam is Lawrence.
Okay, all right. Just
We're
get
going to roll that
there.
out right
okay,
now. We're
he's
going to
not
roll
Lawrence
that out.
Taylor.
Not. But so I think he started a little bit, I think maybe his sophomore year, and then 2 years ago he started for most of the year, had like 65 tackles.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then last year, new DC came in and he was a backup. So I don't know, was it a personality thing? Or he couldn't learn this guy's defense. I don't know. I really don't have any answers. But that was kind of why I think they were optimistic. Was he's played in 4 different defenses, so he should be able to pick things up pretty quickly. He's seen enough, and then B, what he did 2 years ago.
All right,
so we'll see. Now, I mean,
he's playing SEC football.
I was going to say
he might get beat out. I mean, Blake Nicholson might beat him out, or somebody else. We'll see. But he definitely, the physical tools are definitely there.
I think they'll find a way to work him in some capacity. I mean, I at that size and that length, you could use him in a lot of ways. Even you could use him in different packages, which I find fascinating. I think it was a good idea to bring him in, to bring in somebody that physical. If you can handle the rigors of playing linebacker in the SEC in your first year, like you brought up the 60-plus tackle season. I mean, that's pretty physical league. I would think you're going to be all right in transition here.
But up at ACC kickoff, we ran into Henry Crockett. We were talking to him up there, Charlie. He representing the Orange Bowl. He's going to be the future president of the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
First player.
There you go, Henry.
Henry's the first player that's ever played in the game that will go on to be president of the Orange Bowl committee, which is really cool. But anyway, he the first question he asked me about the team was linebacker. And I think that's where my eyes are going to go, man. Once they put on pads, linebacker. I mean, obviously receiver is going to be a big target, and then also probably safety. There's so much good competition at those 2 positions. Everything else is important, but I think I'm going to just focus there a lot.
I'll watch very specific things like right tackle, who wins the job, because I think they have 4 guys that are fighting for that right tackle spot. We have guys that if we were placing odds that are favorite to win it, but I think there are 4 guys legitimately fighting for that spot at right tackle. I'll watch the second tight end position. We know Morlock's going to be a starter, but is Landon Thomas going to be ready to go in game 1? Is he going to be able to handle that as young as he is? If not, who do they look at there? Jackson West. Is he going to be? Yeah, is he going to be the guy? I'm with you on safety, and then also, well, you guys already know I bring up linebacker all the time. So I'm with you on that.
Agreed.
How about you?
We covered them all. Kicker.
All right.
Kicker.
You're not looking at kicker.
I am. I'll look at kicker today. Not that there's a competition. Ira Fitzgerald. I was telling you. I don't think any of y'all saw it
55-yarder.
when he kicked the 55-yarder today that he missed. Which I'm not criticizing the kid. It hit off the left upright, and I swear it was at least halfway. It was more than halfway up the left upright from 55 yards. I mean, even when he was good, he was really good last year. I don't remember him having like a thunder leg. He wasn't Dan Marley. We didn't call him Thunder Dan. He wasn't Jay Nikowski.
Right.
But that leg is outrageous. And the new kid has a big leg, too.
Well, the
Weinberg.
new kid has a really big leg. That's interesting. I think they're set both at punter and kicker for a long time.
With the back.
That other punter is a stud.
Mac Chiaminto.
Yeah. He's been
good, man.
For a while. He's not quite as consistent, but
right.
He's
got a leg. We saw yesterday, we saw some punts from that kid. I was like, whoa.
It's crazy.
We don't know about him, and this is, I don't know how we're here on
backup
day
punter?
2 of preseason practice.
Backup punter?
But the thing that
let's debate it.
Mastromanno is so good at putting people in the side of 20.
Yes,
like you don't know
angling and everything else.
We don't know if Chiaminto has that in his bag yet.
But they've had good point. Yeah. But they come a long way since debt. Since punters were described as debt.
Yeah. And I said yesterday, don't get into a punt off with us. We'll punch your ass. We got some punters.
We got depth.
We got depth at punter.
Back in the day,
kicker.
They cared so little about that stuff that they're like, can the backup quarterback punt at all? Did he punt at Thomas County Central?
I bet DJ
I'm sure DJ could punt. I think Shaheem Brown could punt. And back then, they're like, well, Charlie, you're not playing this year. Will you punt for us? Like they just didn't care about that stuff. It's crazy.
When I covered high school football,
they didn't care, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't obviously
I can't remember the kid's name, but when I was covering high school football in South Georgia, Cairo had a defensive lineman,
who can punt?
Place kicker.
Oh, those are the best. Straight on?
He would just go straight on.
Toe kicker.
Just like take 2 steps. And, man, the guy was like money from inside 35. I mean, money.
I kicked in Pee Wee football my first year in addition to playing other positions. And my brother literally kicked through high school and had college scholarships to kick. And he was so pissed that I was a toe kicker.
You just went straight on.
He was like, what are you doing? I was like, if they're extra points, they needed one guy to kick an extra point. He goes, but you play soccer. Why don't you do this? I said, no, because I'm straight down the middle. If I just toe it it's an extra point in Pee Wee football.
It's 20
He's
yards.
like, you look like an idiot. He was furious. Like, are they good? Is it going down the pike? That's it, buddy.
They, this team, I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching this camp develop and kind of, because there are even at positions where, like, I didn't mention some of these other positions, but there is great competition, even though it's a lot of returning guys. Like running back to me, Keziah Holmes made a bunch of plays today.
Yeah, he looked good today.
And so
I think he's the top running back, guys. I'm going to say it right here, right now. No. This is Tuesday. This is Thursday. I just want to say it.
But I did want to give a shout out to Tom Lang, because I think Tom Lang made the case for him. He had him higher. Yeah. I think Tom in our top 40 had him higher than everybody else. Because he
also thought Rodney Hill was going to the league.
He and I were both wrong about Rodney Hill.
What are we going to do there?
But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out at FAMU.
Hey, that chapter's not. That story's not written. That book isn't done.
But I just thought I didn't know if Keziah would, like, I just felt like with Roydell and Toafili and Lucas.
They got so many dudes. But they're all awesome looking.
And then you see this Danzy kid, and then you Sam Singleton. I mean,
look, man, I think we know Toafili is going to to play a lot. He's good, and they love him. You know what I mean? Like, he's a big part of what they built here.
He had a great catch. Did you see his catch today, by the way?
Yeah, it's almost, you don't even think about mentioning Toafili anymore.
I mean, he's blanketed, and just makes a beautiful catch. I mean,
but, like, so he's going to play a lot. We know that. He's not going to get 25 carries a game, but he's going to be on the field a lot. It's going to be who's the other guy in the backfield with him, I think. And maybe they split one out, maybe they don't. But
I've been assuming it's Roydell Williams.
Probably, right? But then you mentioned Keziah, and Keziah is a nice player. And then also, you can't keep Jalen Lucas off the field. Right. So where does he fit into all this too? So that's what's going to be fascinating. Cam Davis, it would be hard to foresee Danzy or Cam Davis playing a ton this year just because of the people in front of them. But then it's like you watch them and you're like, well, yeah, they should play.
Very good problem to have.
Yeah.
I like, if you're ever in a position to go by segment group, by segment group, by segment group, and at some point you say to yourself, somebody at some point's transferring, that's a good thing. Like, you don't know who, and I'm not saying anybody will. But if you say to yourself as you go through receiver, running back, quarterback, and you go, man, they just have so many options, stands to reason somebody at some point will be transferred.
But the situation here, though, is they have so many seniors. Like, a bunch of those guys are seniors.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if, like, Cam Davis or
Toafili.
I don't think they would. I'm just saying that it's when you go through guys and you start if you get to 6, at some point somebody's likely to leave in that group.
Yeah, they're in a good situation, I think, because that group there's 3 or 4 of them are going to be leaving, and then you've got all this talent behind them. But, man, I think of the future with some of those. I mean, the future at that position is really, really bright. And, again, the biggest question still after one day, my overreaction today was
we've had 2 days, Ira,
to overreact.
We've even killed it now. We've done reactions in both ways.
My first day to overreact. I kind of, like, at the end of the spring, very concerned about wide receiver. Talk myself into not being as concerned,
but
I'm a little bit concerned again about wide receiver. Not that they're, like, devoid of talent, but just, I don't know.
Let's do this. Let's come back.
Talk about that next.
Let's talk about it next, because I share Ira's concerns.
And I don't.
You don't.
I'm not.
That's
you
the
thought I was
group
quick
you've
to
ever
be
seen.
concerned.
No, you
I've
did
gone
the
other
opposite
direction.
today. Yeah, today you think that's the best bunch
it's
you've ever
Fab
seen.
12.
It's
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Forget the Fab 4. It's the Fab 12.
Would you look at this Benson kid? He's an All-Pro.
Yeah, 4 times 3.
Yeah, it's amazing. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
A semi-truck jackknifed Wednesday around 1 p.m. on I-10 West in Leon County at mile marker 208. The trailer blocked both westbound lanes on the grass median. The driver of the semi was traveling too fast for the conditions due to the inclement weather present in the area at the time, which caused the driver to run off the roadway to avoid crashing into the car in front of the truck. The truck crashed into the eastbound guardrail, which pushed the truck outside the lanes on the westbound side, where the truck jackknifed and came to a final rest. Over 100 gallons of fuel spilled from the semi covering the road. The driver of this truck was not badly seriously hurt and was cited for careless driving. The Florida A&M Board of Trustees is set to meet next week to approve a contract for its new interim president candidate, Dr. Timothy Beard, who will serve as the HBCU's interim president. The news comes a day after the board held a meeting to discuss the presidential search following President Dr. Larry Robinson's announcement of stepping down earlier this month. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 89. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of thunderstorms tonight, lows around 74, partly cloudy skies. Storms likely tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 92, a blend of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 91 degrees.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
We'll have to be particularly careful as we have this discussion about wide receivers to make sure we don't do what you're just talking about. I share some concerns that with you, Ira, about wide receiver. And it's not a panic. It's not a like they don't have any good players type of conversation. It's not, oh my God, who, if anybody, can emerge from this group of slappies. We're not saying that at all in any way, shape, or form. But I do wonder if you have a difference maker at wide receiver. Is there somebody that can change the game currently at wide receiver? And I don't know the answer to that right now. I certainly don't see it yet.
Our guy Ben Spicer we were standing there today, and he said, "Doesn't seem like you have one of those guys. Hey, just throw it to me."
No, they don't.
Don't care where the play is. Don't care who's on me. Just throw the ball up, and I'm going to go get it. Now, I guess where I talked myself into it during the offseason was, man, that doesn't matter. Good ground game, big arm quarterback, play action. You don't have to win a lot of 50-50 balls maybe. But I just was hoping you'd see more guys take that next step. Now they're going against really good DBs, and we talked about that earlier. They do have really good DBs. It's not like they're doing this against, some of the – I mean, there was a time where we thought and you guys mentioned – I think Tom mentioned Jordan Young yesterday.
Oh,
there was a time Jordan Young looked pretty good in practice.
Yeah.
You realized the DBs he was going up against were not very good. So
it had to be a hell of a realization for Jordan Young, too.
Well, every Saturday.
No
offense, Jordan.
He figured it out. Well, I think the other reason you get concerned is we saw what happens if somebody is capable of stopping your run game. If you don't have guys that can get separations and you're going to have to throw the ball that day, you can have a day that looks an awful lot like the game against Clemson. I know they won that game. They probably shouldn't have. They did. It worked out. But, I mean, that was a day of a whole lot of frustration because you realized they didn't have answers. They couldn't run the ball to save their life. And basically it became, I sure hope somebody catches this jump ball.
Yeah.
And even against, they were injury riddled, but they couldn't line up and run the ball against Pitt the way that they wanted to. And the next thing you know, and again, a lot of guys were out that game and a lot of guys played hurt in that game. But if you don't have a go-to, Corey, you would rightfully always bring up that, hey, look, man, it doesn't really matter if you're not getting separation if you're 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Like when they had dudes like that, you could say, Johnny will catch the ball most of the time if you throw it up to him, even if he's not running away from somebody. They don't have a guy like that this year that we've seen where you say it's just a physical mismatch. I mean, Keelan Coleman was a physical freak, right? I mean, he certainly wasn't running away from people, but good luck with that dude and that vertical. I mean, hell, he played basketball at Michigan State. He's an athlete.
Body control.
Right. All those things, especially early in the year before he had the contusion and all that. I mean, that one-handed catch against Syracuse, the freakish things you saw. We just don't see that yet. There's no person that you look to and you think, oh, well, they could get bailed out because he's just too big. Now, maybe Hakeem fits that bill at some point. We don't know if he can yet. He hasn't had to do it. And we're kind of going to need to see that from somebody, whether that's him or Portier or whoever.
The guys with the height and length to do it would be him, Kentron, Deuce Spann, Portier. But those guys, they have not shown it. Malik Benson's the best receiver, and he's not that kind of guy.
No, he's not a guy that's going to go up and win a ton of contested catches, but I think he can make tough catches, and obviously he's faster than anybody they had on the field last year. That'll help. I just think we've talked about it. I think it's going to look different. It's not going to be churning out 6 first downs on a drive. You're going to have to hit a 40-yard play. You're going to have to hit a 50-yard play. They didn't do that a ton last year. Johnny Wilson would make a 26-yard catch for a first down, but it wasn't like huge 50, 60-yard plays. I think Coleman's –
if it was Trey Benson if they came.
Right. So, but, look, man, I think if Portier's healthy, he's a solid to good college wide receiver. I just think he's going to be. He's not a superstar. I think he is a good number 2 or number 3 guy. I think Benson has the potential to be a number 1. Who's the other guy? I think Portier and Benson are on the field, in my opinion, after 2 full days.
Jakai is a slot guy.
Jakai is on the field. Yeah. But then also, Morlock counts, I think, in this regard. And I also think we know they're going to have Toafili and Jalen Lucas doing some things that receivers do. Yeah. And so it's just going to be a different kind of looking offense if the other guys don't step up.
And I'm fine with that. I mean, we've said all along we think it's going to look
Malik
different
Benson
because they're going to
want to run the ball.
huge
Deal. He is going to, and I mean, like how he ends up being is going to really have a pretty big impact.
I see what you're saying. So if he doesn't play well,
if he's just pedestrian, that's a huge deal. If he's second day NFL caliber pick, that's a huge deal. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the fluctuation with him.
No, I think that's right. Now, I don't think I was, and I'm sure you weren't, like saying this was an indictment or
sounded like
concern about the offense.
Sounded like
I just was hoping some of those guys would have.
Give him time, day 2. Hey, reaction. Day 2, you've seen one practice.
We've always said this about
second
Ira.
Practice. But it was the second practice. It wasn't the first practice.
The receivers were great yesterday.
We've always said about Ira.
Yeah.
You got to temper whatever it is.
I mean, he's off the rails. He's off the rails.
You know this about him, and you just kind of take it and go with it.
He wanted Dugans fired until the commitment an hour ago.
What's funny is, though, I think it's perfectly fair to say that somebody, because Mike said it, Mike Norvell said it, that somebody was going to have to emerge from that group. He was asked about it in Charlotte. He spoke to it.
Yeah, we want it to be Hakeem. I think Hakeem is the guy.
Well, because he looks like a freak.
Yes, and because of the one play he had last year where you're like, whoa, that's speed.
Well, he's a 5-star receiver who looks like that.
LaWayne McCoy is going to be a player.
By the way, LaWayne McCoy is.
But I don't know that you can count on him in Ireland or against Boston College, like as a true freshman and a late enrollee. But he's going to be he wasn't a late enrollee. He was an early enrollee. Yeah. He just didn't.
He had a good spring, and then he got dinged at the end of spring.
And I think Elijah Moore is going to be a guy that ends up playing well for this team or this program at some point. It's just hard to count on them. It's got to be Williamson and Portier.
That's what I was going to say.
Deuce. It's got to be the guys that have been here.
Yeah, but when you see, that's where people hear it and would get concerned. Doesn't mean those guys won't do it. But if you just said Williamson, who the hell believes that he's going to make plays? Maybe he does. But nobody listening to this believes that.
And Deuce, same thing with Deuce.
That's what I mean. You just said Deuce. Okay, I'll put it back on my Lakewood guy. Who the hell's thinking, I mean, if I put out the number of catches for Deuce Spann this year at 10.5, you're betting the under.
Yes, correct. I am, but I might lose that bet horribly.
Well, you'd also lose your house. you were setting that line.
So the point is, like, I think if I'm listening to this, I'm kind of like, well, that's not great. doesn't mean somebody won't emerge. It just makes me a little concerned.
Yeah, just the thing. I guess and again, I need to temper it. I just think you've got so many options. There's so many guys out there that you feel like one or two of them would emerge.
Yes.
And we haven't seen that yet.
Especially after this one practice you saw. I will say this, Jaylen Brown looked much better yesterday than he did today.
Okay.
Like he did have a good day yesterday. I know you saw it. You saw Thursday's practice. He did practice, I thought, pretty well. He made a couple really impressive catches on Wednesday. That is also a guy we haven't mentioned at all.
Because I think he can be a difference maker.
Yes, correct. And he was not today. Right. But that could be.
But you also don't know. Yeah, you don't know what they were working on. It may not be routes that are.
Well, and they had him on the outside basically today. Those weren't he's going to be a slot guy.
I don't know. I will see.
Well,
I think he could be both.
I hope you're right.
But anyways, we'll see. But it's just it's just hard. I mean, that's the whole point of my conversation earlier, and you checking me later is. It's beautiful that we get to watch all this stuff, but man,
awesome.
It's hard to, just kind of put it all in perspective.
Yeah, and I think we all go out there with preconceived notions about some things that are going to happen. And if they don't, then maybe you overreact to that because you thought for sure it was going to happen. We can't know in 2 days, and all of us readily admit that.
I mean, think about how fans and media overreact after a first game.
Oh, without question, yeah.
I mean, no matter what happens that first game.
Traditionally called Overreaction Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So we're getting that day by day. And we didn't have to deal with this last year because we knew what that team was.
We at the most important spots.
And so if a guy had a bad day, you just whatever.
Yeah, you didn't see Jordan Travis have a bad day and go, Jordan Travis is going to suck.
Right. Yeah,
because you knew what he was and you knew what you thought you were going to get out of him. And then obviously the first few times we saw Keon Coleman, we're like, well, that is different. Yeah, guess what? There's no Keon Coleman out there this year. But not many people have that.
No,
that's pretty rare. So it is. But again. If you're relying, that's why Mike said what he did. It's not just us. Mike talked about that room needs to show that somebody's going to emerge that can be counted on. He doesn't doubt that a lot of guys have the ability to be a number one or a two and be relied upon. They have to prove it. And he said as much. You didn't really hear that kind of conversation going into the season last year because he knew he had a Johnny Wilson and a Keon Coleman. And now they don't have that dude, let alone two of them.
It's interesting, though, I think this wide receiver group, as it's currently constructed, is better than the 2022 one. When you feel like it had Pittman, Johnny Wilson, and Pokey Wilson. Like, nice players, good players. But I feel like this wide receiver group is at least that one's equal.
Has more potential.
And probably has more potential. They don't have the 6'7" freak, but they have probably more potential from top to bottom. And that team won 10 games and was a dumb interception away in Raleigh from winning 11 games. So even if we're saying this wide receiver group isn't going to be extra special, it still should be plenty good enough that you can have a nice to good to great season.
Yes, and what we're judging it against is the backdrop of greatness.
Yeah.
You're not saying, none of us are saying, if nobody emerges as a superstar wide receiver, Florida State's going to be bad.
Yeah.
There's a defense. There's the ability to run the ball with a huge running back room and a better offensive line, a great offensive mind, and Mike Norvell calling plays.
Yeah, you've got a really good.
You got a lot of things that your special team should be great. Your kicker is very, very good. Your punter is very, very good. A lot of aspects to the game. So nobody is saying that if our concerns about the receivers turn out to be accurate, it means that Florida State's going to be bad. It's against the backdrop of greatness.
It's also against the backdrop of ceiling. What is the ceiling of this team if the receivers aren't?
You just went 13-0, and you're trying to juxtapose that with what will this team do? Well, if they don't have an elite level of receiver play, they won't go 13-0, but they could go 11-1 or 10-2.
Yeah, you think about last year; they don't beat Clemson without Keon.
Right.
I don't think they beat Florida without Johnny. Johnny made a couple crazy catches in that game, including the one to set up the first touchdown. Now, that was a whole different scenario because they lost their starting quarterback.
Maybe the last 2 years.
But you're right. But probably lose at least once or twice without Keon on the team, like Keon and Johnny. Like this wide receiver room last year. I don't know, though, because you have Jordan throwing, and he beat Pitt with no receivers.
And that was the thing. Like, the offense would have looked different. I mean,
the running game was just so disappointing.
We don't need to relitigate last season, but how much of it felt like that offense, especially once some guys got banged up.
Oh, it was tough sledding.
It limped to the finish line a little bit.
And you also felt like there were times where maybe Jordan was forcing the ball sometimes to certain guys. It never really, even before the injuries. Yeah. I mean, obviously it was great against LSU in the second half, but there were parts even before the injuries where it was kind of like, And then once the injuries hit, it just didn't.
Well, that was born out of not being able to run the ball when you want to run the ball.
Which was disappointing. And I think just, again, judging from the spring, and then obviously they are in shorts. But I just the last 2 days, I just think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to be able to run the ball.
No, they have thought they would, and
they're committed to it.
I agree. I think we all think they will. We haven't seen it yet. Can't validate it in shorts,
right?
But I do think that's what's
and if you can run the ball, buddy, it's all opened up.
And the defense, I'm
really
more
good.
and more excited about the defense.
I'm with you on this, Ira. I think that if they can run the ball and we can count on the defense, and we both like the defense, well, then this is going to be a good season. They have to run the ball for that receiving core to emerge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you brought in speed guys to make guys have to creep up against the run, throw over their heads. And I think that's what they're planning to do. And I think they're going to be, come hell or high water, committed to running, because he was furious last year. You could see there were games where Mike is staring off into the void, angry about the fact that they couldn't run the ball.
Well, I mean, they just stopped running counters.
They just stopped trying. They were like, well, can't do it. And for a guy that has always found a way to engineer a running game, no matter the personnel deficiencies, that had to have been as frustrated as I've ever seen him. That Clemson game, there is a stretch where in the second half where he's just beside himself.
Yeah,
he's like, we're just playing a field position game and hoping to get lucky. And they did.
Yeah.
A kid misses
Thanks,
a
Cade.
point-blank kick, and then, and Cade would rogue, and you had the fumble recovery for a time. I mean, they got lucky. It worked out. It's amazing. Hour number 2 forthcoming. We'll get to headliner questions. Looking forward to it, as always. You're listening to Seminole Headlines on 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Rick Stockstill, former Nole, former Middle Tennessee State head football coach. Dustin Hill. Bunch of QBs. Q's on 3, Q's on me. 1, 2, 3.
Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Nole that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing limit. NMLS number 373030.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, headliner questions coming your way. I'm Jeff, that's Corey and Ira, and you're listening to us, and for that, we're very, very appreciative, and we're also appreciative of our friends at Birch Orthodontics, who I will see next week. I just got the reminder on my phone this morning that Clark has an appointment for next week, but if you need to get your kids' teeth in order, go see Birch Orthodontics. They're the best in the business. We send all of our kids there, and also they are avid supporters of Florida State athletics as well as Seminole Headlines.
No doubt. And I think I think it's fair enough to say that we've determined that Dr. Birch is the best orthodontist in the
Southeast.
I was going to say the Western Hemisphere. But, I mean,
you're going bigger.
And he goes a little bit bigger.
I mean, it's safe. It feels safe to say.
Definitely north of the
overreaction.
Equator. Definitely north of the equator.
Could be. I only had 3 kids get their braces there.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It may be an overreaction.
I've had 2.
That's true. It's still kind of a small sample size when you consider the hemisphere.
5? You think 5?
Yeah, 5 might be a small sample size. But you're happy with all the work they've done.
Tremendous work. Yeah. And if you have kids, there's a good chance your kids need them. Not in our day. Back in our generation, kids just could walk around with snaggly teeth, and people, unless you were rich.
But now you're teeth shamed. Everybody gets teeth shamed now, so you got to fix them.
So you got to take care of it.
Everybody does?
Most people get teeth shamed in this country.
I feel like it's we shame the British.
Well, right. Yeah.
I don't ever.
Well, because they go to orthodontics here. They go to orthodontists here. They believe it.
I don't ever remember being at a bar going, the hell's wrong with your teeth?
You know how they, like a lot of people do mission trips. You think Dr. Birch could go to England and just start helping people out?
Saving teeth?
She could get on a Carnival cruise line and have her way with people.
BirchOrthodontics.com is the website. If you've got kids and they need a little help with their dental work or orthodontic work.
Mangled ass teeth.
Yes. Go
get
see
it
Dr.
together.
Birch.
Yeah.
Free consultations, payment plans, best in the business.
OG headliner Sean leads us off. And he wants me to know.
First.
Oh, what?
James B chimed in at the end of the last hour.
I missed it. I missed it. I apologize. Good call.
The esteemed James B.
The esteemed James B. We love James B.
We do. What do you guys think the percentage of run versus pass will be in the first 3 games?
60-40.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think we all were going to say that. Yeah.
Run.
I'll go 57-43 run.
Okay, there you go.
I'll go 58.
Okay, we're right there. Right.
Price is Right. We're doing the Price is Right game here. You just screwed me. Now
unless they get behind.
I'm staring at you 2 things down, going, what the hell did he just $1?
Try again next time.
$1, you bastard.
I think 60-40. I mean, that seems right. Now the yardage may be more.
By the way, one of the reasons that might be very, very skewed even more than 60-40 is if Georgia Tech shows early on their run defense isn't any better than it was a year ago, there's no reason to throw a pass.
Right.
They quite literally in some measurements were the worst rushing defense in the country, not the ACC, the country last year.
They struggled.
So If I asked Brent Key that, and I was trying to think of a nice way,
right?
I mean, that's hard when you have a guy across from you. He's the head coach and he's as big as he is to talk to him about his sorry-ass defense, right?
Right.
So I started out with a compliment, and then I said, I know every year's a new year, an opportunity to get better in some areas. Obviously, you guys really struggled against the run last year. What makes you think that will be better this year? He kind of looked down and he chuckled. He goes, well, first of all, the good news is it can't be any worse.
Oh, there you go.
So I was like, okay, good. He was
a good way to
at least acknowledging that wasn't a mean thing to say.
I caught him later in his availability, and he was asked this. Was that during your one-on-one?
It was
during this was in the breakout room. One of the other beat writers was asking him, basically trying to like phrase it in a positive way.
It's tough. What do you do? Like, hey, man.
And their defense was terrible. So that's a good point. Yeah, if they haven't fixed, and I don't know that they have.
They went out and they got a new defensive line coach, and they've gotten a couple of new guys personnel-wise. Not a ton, but a couple.
Yeah. So, that's a good point.
I mean,
you could see walking out if Mike Norvell can win that game running the ball 50 times,
especially because of the mentality he's trying to put into his team anyhow, and you get running downhill. If all of a sudden you're just emasculating them mid second quarter, I mean, DJ is going to end up with like 12 of 15 for 187 yards.
That'd be great.
Just run the ball. Run the ball. Okay, now we go to Sean, the OG headliner, and he says, Jeff, I just want to put this on the record for Corey.
Okay.
On the March 19th episode of Seminole.
He's got receipts. Sean's got receipts.
Here we go.
We don't believe that. Who can even look up something like this?
On the March 19th episode of Seminole Headlines, I asked Corey if we could get an hour number 2 if the Noles made it to Omaha, in which he stated he would. I followed up a second time with this request on the May the 16th Seminole Headlines episode, where he again stated he would give us an hour number 2 if we were Omaha bound. So my question for Jeff and Ira is this. What is going on with Corey never keeping his word to the loyal listeners of Seminole Headlines?
It's a fair question, guys.
What is he lacking in the way of keeping his word that you two aren't? Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, it's a question of character. Sean.
Integrity, too.
Character and integrity. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I mean, you could make a case.
Answer Sean.
You could make a case that maybe Corey's just memory was a little foggy.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I'm older.
And so we can live, you can accept that. But now that you've been presented with these receipts, you have the opportunity to go back and listen.
I could go back and listen.
Is that what we're going to do for next week?
It's got to be the second hour because he said it was a question that he asked, so it's an hour.
Well, but I'm saying he's very specific.
Yeah, so I would like Sean next week to pose the question with the timestamp that I said it, and then I'll go back
and listen. Make it as easy as possible for you to go find out.
Hour number 2 it in the middle of August.
But if we get the documentation.
I feel like I missed it though, right? Like can I go back and retroactively do it?
You want to do it right now?
No.
Just say it.
No, hour number 2. There you go, Sean.
Crushed it.
Can you give us the gusto?
No.
We're here now. Get it
Next
out there.
Question. I don't like being put on a stage like this. I'm not a dancing monkey. I'm not going to do just what Sean wants.
On at all.
No.
Corey Clark.
Yeah,
never.
he doesn't want attention.
No, never.
Come on, man. Just you. We'll turn off our mics. You do it. It's a chance for you to fulfill a dream.
All right. I'll try.
Okay,
this is it.
Hold on.
I believe him.
Hold on a second now. Before you do, all right. Now do a test.
Test. Corey Clark.
Okay. Ira, our mics are off. This is it. I
can hear you.
I'm going to turn it off in a second. I want to.
Okay.
He's the literalist.
Yeah.
I want a full-throated,
Okay. Right.
hey, the Noles just went to Omaha.
Okay.
Just made it to Omaha after winning, 23 games a year ago?
Hour number 2.
There it is.
All right. Sean, You're welcome. I blew Ira's ears out.
We did it. Good job. There it is.
Hey, well-deserved, by the way. Great team. Great season.
See,
Marco,
I had to get you in the right place. I was like a director with an actor.
It was like
your mother has been stolen from you.
Yeah, I got it.
It was somewhere between Fred Flintstone and I don't know. That
was like
was a good one.
Michael Bay over there.
That was a better one.
Ridley Scott. You got me right there.
I was like, how can I get him? How can I get him to the place that he needs to go?
And then one take. That's
one take. Let's go.
More like Clint Eastwood then. One take and we're done.
And we don't need to hear anymore. We're good. Yeah. Let's move it along.
Sean, don't ever ask that again.
Good job.
Good work, Sean.
David writes, I know there's a wide range of pessimism and optimism amongst the fan base. That's fair. But am I naive to feel optimistic just because I really trust our football coach?
That's a good point, too.
Until shown otherwise, Mike seems way above average in knowing exactly what he's doing, and he's yet to overpromise on it. Hey, good point here, David. He's yet to overpromise on expectations. That's true. When they sucked and he knew they sucked, he didn't make any grand pronouncements about how they were going to move the ball up and down the field or anything like that.
Well, like a prior coach who talked about –
yeah, well, hey, we don't need to bring up.
I don't know why you went there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I'm saying my man didn't do that. He knew you're better to under-promise and over-deliver. He understood that.
Right. While still trying to be – you could tell he still wanted to win every game.
Oh, hell yeah. He called plays that way.
Yeah, he knew
if we're working under the premise that Mike Norvell is, let's say, a top 10 coach in this country.
I mean,
Alabama seems to agree with you.
But I mean, I think there needs to be a longer run, but I certainly think he's there.
Yeah.
It hasn't certainly been proven for a longevity yet, but he got Memphis to the Cotton Bowl. I think he has a 19-game winning streak at Florida State right now.
There aren't many questions.
There aren't many better coaches than him in this country. And if you think you've got one of the best coaches in the country, then when you break everything else down and look at the roster, look at the personnel, look at question marks you might have, you believe in your head coach.
Especially
if you believe in your head coach, you're going to have a good season.
Especially when you know that he is very confident about this team. And that's not just words. Like, I know this from talking to people around him. Like, he is very confident and excited about this team. So doesn't mean he doesn't have any questions. Doesn't mean there's not things he needs to see. But he believes in this team at a high level. And if you believe in him, then that should be pretty reassuring.
It's a fun conversation because this is what happens when you enter into rarefied air. You're now judged differently. So when you go from being, hey, just a guy that somebody hired and let's see what you are, to now you're considered to be excellent. So if like Billy Napier if he starts to win at any point in Florida,
right?
Probably not this year. So the total's 4.5.
4.5.
That'll hurt your feelings.
Yes.
Their win total's 4.5.
I took the over, by the way. I think they'll win more than 4 games.
How many?
5. They'll win 5 games. But I did take the over. Now that said, if all of a sudden he starts winning games, he'll enter into a different realm. That's just the way it works, right? And you're not a victim of your own successes. I've said millions of times. People used to get mad, like, what else do you want for the guy who wins 10 games every year? It changes once that happens. Nick Saban was held to a different standard. If Alabama went 8-4, for some teams that's great. That's a disaster for Alabama, right? Once you're proven to be that. This is the first year for Mike Norvell where he is being viewed through a different prism. This is different. You will now look at him and have a certain lofty expectation, just like what we saw right there from David. And I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, what would warrant criticism? 9-3, 8-4, would that warrant criticism? Certainly 10-2 or above, I don't think he's going to be criticized.
Well, 10-2 or above, he's essentially in the playoffs.
Right,
or
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But anything less than 10 wins, I think he will get criticized.
I think if he's not in the playoff hunt, if they don't play in Charlotte, you can criticize that. I think
the attention would turn to, okay, where did the roster not come through? Mm-hmm. And then it's, okay, well, you misjudged that, but you got to fix it for next year. I don't think people are going to be like, in an uproar, no matter what.
They shouldn't be in an uproar. I agree. You get more than one mistake before you get into an uproar. To me, the only way that they would go like 8-4 and he would be open for criticism. And again, we all have to say this every year. If you get a bunch of injuries, and just throw whatever out the window. We know that. Is if DJ plays poorly. That's really the only way it can happen. I think they're too talented to not have a very good season unless DJ plays poorly.
And I just think that's highly unlikely because he really hasn't played poorly either the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that team 2 years ago at Clemson was not all his fault. And in fact, his numbers were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They're not.
He had a horrible last game, but he was good. He was a good college quarterback before that game.
Yeah.
So I get your point. But to me, it was more likely 3 years ago, when he went all in with Jordan. When he didn't go get a transfer, when Mackenzie Milton left and he didn't go out and get another transfer quarterback, went all in with Jordan, to me, that was a little risky. Because if that didn't go well, if Jordan got hurt,
that would have been a problem.
Or if he didn't play well, then it would have been a real problem. That didn't happen. To me, I think the likelihood of DJ playing poorly is pretty low. I don't know that his ceiling
is going
to be super, super high, but I don't think he's going to play poorly.
Andy writes, Jim Phillips had the enthusiasm of Mark Mangino in front of a plate of register sausage.
Yeah.
Mangino would get after it. Yes. Or Friesian back in the day.
Oh, Ralph.
Were they on the same staff together at any point?
Friesian and Mangino?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe.
Ralph came here and spoke to the quarterback club, and I had to introduce him. He was the nicest man.
Nice guy.
Really nice guy.
It seemed like, yeah.
But heartbreakingly, he was struggling to breathe as we sat there talking.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, damn it, man, because I liked that dude. He was really interesting, and he was a super nice guy. That said, did anybody ask if he showed the same vigor towards lobbying for FSU to be in the playoffs, talking about Jim Phillips?
We know he did not.
Correct.
So we don't need to ask.
He did not even bring it up in his hour-long commissioners forum. Yeah. As he lauded the fact that the ACC will be in the 12-team playoff and he expects them to be have another really good football season. He did not once bring up.
Amazingly, somehow at the SEC, and I'm not killing Jim Phillips here, but somehow Greg Sankey found a way because he's nice. He fed Corey Clark. He fed Corey.
Yeah, he did. He did. I saw it. Yeah.
So we got to cut him some slack. But
he fed you too. You had the other half of the sandwich.
He didn't intentionally feed me.
No, he gave me the plate.
The sandwich, and then I just had your leftovers.
You had the other. Yeah.
I don't think it would have been bad if he came over and saw it and like snatched it out of my hand.
I didn't give it to
Corey. But it's amazing that Greg Sankey, commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, the all-powerful Southeastern Conference, which had two teams in the playoff that probably didn't deserve to be there, found time at SEC Media Days to complain about Georgia being left out.
Yeah.
But Jim Phillips never brought up the fact that Florida State was left out.
I don't think Jim Phillips in Florida State are in a great place right now. I feel like they're going through some stuff.
It feels like they're a little at odds.
You hang around them, they seem like they're not what they used to be.
They're not simpatico?
No, not anymore.
They're that couple that leaves the dinner and everybody kind of goes, woo.
Okay, that was a little icy.
I don't know.
A little icy there, yeah.
Did Carroll seem a little on edge to you guys? Because is something going on there? We'll talk later.
He was very nice to me because he did. If people don't know, I was sitting there writing a story where I just typed the headline, Phillips, a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. That was on my screen.
And he saw it.
No, because he walked over to my computer was back. It was just the back of my computer laptop to him. So he didn't see it.
You should have said, hey, you want to read?
You want to read my headline? Yeah. But he shook my hand. And my column didn't rip Jim Phillips because he is in an impossible position. What can he say?
Excuses for
but he is. And but he was nice enough. He said, he talked to me for a couple minutes.
Why? What was the point? He just wanted to hand you a sandwich?
I don't know. And then
I think he's bending over backwards to prove that he's not anti-Florida State.
Probably.
Because in Omaha.
So you think he knows that I'm a Florida State media member?
For sure. And when I was in Omaha, he's an avid watcher. Who doesn't watch?
He's listening to this right now. Jim,
it's good seeing you again. I don't let these guys talk bad about you.
But when we were in Omaha, like a few of us were down in the field, and he was talking to Michael Alford, and we all took pictures of it and tweeted it. And then I left to go see a friend who was there in the stands, and Phillips walked over right after I had left, and he said to one of the other writers, "Where'd Ira go? I want to come say hi." So
he really said, "Where did Ira go?"
I think Jim's out here doing research.
But I think that's I just think he's trying to go overboard to let people know he's not.
Well, and I'm saying I didn't change much of my column after he handed me the sandwich with the fries and the 2 drinks, but I changed a little bit. I'm a human being.
There was some good bacon on that sandwich.
Yeah, it was a really good sandwich. A lot better than what they fed us at that place.
Austin writes, first off, all you guys rock, and I thank you for helping us all through the off season. Austin,
it's our pleasure.
Austin wins the day.
Yeah.
That might be worth an hour number 2.
We might be done here.
Which player are you looking for the most growth from? And he says his pick is Hakeem. And his daughter Reagan says hello. Hello, Reagan.
Now, do you think his question is more who do we expect to see the most growth from, or who do we would we wish to see the most growth for?
Which player are you looking for the most growth from?
To me, you could read that two ways.
You probably could.
You could. You'd have to have a back and forth with Austin to know his
I would love.
You want to answer it both ways? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it would be awesome if it was a receiver like Hakeem or Kentron.
Because of the physical tools.
Yeah.
Or
in the import of their position, what they mean to the team.
But I'm going to say I expect it from.
Ooh, that's a good one. Who do you expect it from? That's a good one. Kentron Portier.
Yeah, I think that's my answer. Yeah, and I don't even know if it's
Ira hates Kentron, so we know he's not going to say
him. Hate him. I don't know what you have to see.
I saw one practice today. I saw one practice.
Yeah, he did all right today. But if Kentron can stay healthy, I don't know if he's going to make a huge jump and just his talents.
But that's a big if, and if he does, he could have a very good season.
He could have a nice season for you. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna go. You know, keep going back to it. I'm gonna go Blake Nicholson. I think Blake Nicholson's got a good year.
Okay, all right.
Oh, so you went segment group linebacker. You went. Okay, he was saying receiver, wasn't he?
No, he just said who. He just said which player. He didn't say a position.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
his choice was Hakeem, but I don't know that was the question. I think it was just a player.
Oh, okay. Well, then I like your answer. That's a good answer.
What if Toa Feely is like an all ACC back?
That catch today impressed me. It was the route, and I mean we've seen him do it before.
Yeah,
but it was just like another reminder. Like, man, it was like very. Like, oh, yeah, he just does that. But that was a great play.
In the last game he played, because he didn't play against Georgia, Toa Feely is pretty good. Yeah. You know, maybe maybe he'll turn himself into a 1,000-yard rusher.
Man, his enthusiasm is infectious.
Love that guy. He's a really good guy to be.
He's a great kid.
He's a really good leader, I think.
727, Lawrence, we're there for you, baby. I know. I got you. Plus the tattoo. He's all good. Jeremiah contributed, so I'll ask this before we go to break. He says, just so we know, how fast is DJ? Not very.
He's faster than any of us.
He's
currently maybe
for a 6'4", 245 pounds.
Right. This is not a knock, but I just don't want people thinking he's fast. He's not fast.
He's definitely currently. There's no maybe about it. Currently, he's faster than all of us.
Sure.
20-year-old Jeff Cameron would have dusted
smoking DJ, smoking him.
Yeah.
Now he'll beat my ass afterwards because he's huge. But
you would have to slow down and stop eventually.
Yeah. I just keep running from him because he couldn't get it. That's how that would go. Yeah. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Honey, can you go up in the attic and get a few things for me?
Sure, honey. Well, this is going to be fun. Where's that light switch again? Whoa, can't stand there. I don't even want to know what that was. Why am I up here? There has got to be a better way.
Honey, are you okay?
There is. The Southeast Portable Buildings. Call them today. 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400. No need to get up in that attic any longer when you can call Southeast Portable Buildings. They have sizes to help with the smallest space needs to the largest. Call them today. 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400. Or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Still don't know what that thing was in the attic.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher. And we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
Join us at Café de Martín on Saturday, July 27th, as we celebrate Peruvian Independence Day with live music, delicious and authentic Peruvian cuisine, fresh handmade cocktails, and an atmosphere full of love and celebration. Live music all day starts at 12 noon with the mariachis, continues throughout with the lovely Paula Sofia, and closing the night with David Fonse. Come celebrate Peru Day on Saturday, July 27th at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's premier Peruvian dining experience. Find out more online at cafedemartin.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofing.sales.net.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Back to the questions. Here we go.
Were there any Facebook? Because I got that one up really late. I got that up at 10 a.m.
I'm reading one right
okay,
now.
Sweet, great.
And remember, the OG was on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't know that was a Facebook question.
Yeah, he doesn't typically do Twitter.
He's not doing Twitter.
Sometimes, maybe.
And mostly Facebook. Right. He's an old school Facebook guy. Drew writes, how about it, fellas? Who gets fired first, Cristobal or Napier? Napier.
It's a big game. We're going to have to go into that. Like, who are Florida State?
Yeah, I saw the list,
for?
Ira. Did you see that list?
Like the 10 most likely to fire, or the odds.
In fact, this is kind of an interesting
But I feel
list.
like, are y'all rooting for Florida?
In that game?
You're rooting for Florida in that game.
No, I'm rooting for Miami.
Really? I don't think so.
First of all,
you don't like Miami.
First of all, I'm not rooting for either one of those.
Who are you rooting
teams.
to lose?
Who would you rather see lose? I think you'd rather see Miami lose.
No, because we can do something about it. Go beat Miami when they have a good record and they're ranked in the top 15. Florida's going to have a bad year regardless.
Yeah, but Miami
That's
will be
right.
easier
You want them to win.
Yeah, Miami will be easier to beat if
you want the ACC to possibly be a two-bid league, then
buddy, what world is this? Is this a different world than the one we live in?
It's a 12-team playoff. Corey, things could be different. Yeah. No, but I actually think the ACC. First of all, it's twofold. This is fascinating. One of the reasons I'm excited about this season to begin with is there are a lot of unknowns. We're discussing that about Florida State, but the ACC's got Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and maybe an outside chance SMU as being four really good teams, 9, 10 win types team, 10 plus win types teams. I think you can do that in a lot of.
Did you say Florida State, Clemson?
I said Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and SMU,
and NC State.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I think this league is fascinating. So it could end up being a 2-bid league.
All right.
And you would
could
need
be a 5-bid league if things break.
I don't think so, but you would need obviously Miami to win that game. If they don't, it's all right with me. I'm not going to lose sleep. Yeah. It's not like I'm sitting there like, oh, this is devastating. No, I don't care.
We should do a poll on the website.
Depends on when you were born. That's all it is.
I don't know. I think it really has to do with
when did you? I mean, how many times was your heart ripped out? If you or me, buddy, it's screw Miami eternally.
Nobody here listening to this thinks Florida is going to have some sort of magical playoff type season.
No,
whether they win or lose that game. Miami could theoretically get to the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Losing to Florida really hurts their chances.
Yes, it does. And it might send them spiraling. Yeah. Listen, I will never root for Miami. I want to make that abundantly clear. And you know how my feelings are about them. But it's fascinating. So who's the game bigger for?
I think it's bigger for Miami.
It's bigger for Miami. Florida's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Their win total is 4.5, Jeff.
Yeah.
They're not expecting.
And Miami's expecting to be a top 10 team, and if they go on the road and lose to a Billy Napier team,
if Billy loses that game at home,
well, he probably will.
Yeah, you think so?
Speaking of which, real quick, there's a chance Florida wins, but I think there's way more on the line for Miami. But classic best part of ACC kickoff. I don't know if we talked about this or not because it happened late in the day.
Was it me in the bathroom? Did I tell you that story? What I did in the bathroom?
I don't think I want to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that,
especially not on the air. So Manny Navarro, who covers UM, but now he covers the ACC for the Athletic. He went over to the Georgia Tech players during their breakout and was asking them what was going through their minds when Miami was running the ball.
I asked Brent Key that.
Did you really? What?
Oh, my God. I had to.
What did he say?
So
he's not going to say. The players were like, we were just like, oh, my God, what are they doing?
Okay, so I said to Brent, because he wouldn't take the bait.
I think most
players did.
Most players would have been like initially like, oh, they must we must have a timeout we don't know about. I get it now. And then they're like, wait, we don't have a timeout. Why did he do that?
I gave Brent the scenario. I was like, sorry, I got to ask this because I was in shock last year. Have you ever been a part of an ending like that? So I set him up between, Georgia Tech and Miami. And he goes, well,
one coach just loses his mind.
Well, he stuttered around and I go, no, but no timeouts under 40 seconds to play. And he's running plays. What were your thoughts? And then he was just like, well, when you're in a situation like that, you're just trying to create a turnover. You're just hoping, he got.
I feel like you've already taken your headset off.
Just say it.
Walk into the.
Just say that you couldn't believe the arrogance, the hubris, the dumbassery.
The Georgia Tech players were saying that. They were like, one guy's like, he goes, I was telling other guys on the sideline, they're going to fumble. Watch this. They're going to fumble.
That was insane.
Sure enough, they did.
And then we forget the other part of that is that they had to give up.
They had to give up a 70-yard.
Done anything on offense the whole
game.
In 3 hours.
All right. So our answer was that we think Napier gets fired first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I, for one,
he's got on that list. I think he's 4-1. He's the lowest.
He's probably the favorite.
Yeah, he's the favorite.
Yeah.
He is the favorite on that list. I don't think they're going to fire him.
They're definitely firing him. They're firing him and the AD. They're both.
That's how it would have to happen. Yeah. The AD would have to go, but the president just resigned. So the new president, you think, makes it even more likely?
Well, I just think that they would have fired the AD last year if they didn't also know they were going to have to fire Napier this year. Like, the AD's been a disaster also.
Yeah.
So they need to do it both. And I think
that's a lot of coaches in a short amount of time. Just keep starting over. And by the way, that schedule next year is the same as this year.
It's SEC. Every year in the SEC.
But the new coach is coming in just taking ass kicking after ass kicking. You're just going to keep starting over.
You hate it for him.
You hate to see it.
Should have kept the shark bumper.
All right. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Each of you had to compete in an arm. We got another arm wrestling contest question.
Okay.
Didn't we have this like 10 years ago at the old place?
We have Menelik Watson question.
Yeah. Oh, man. What's Menelik Watson doing?
Oh, probably benching cars.
Yeah.
How long did he stay in the league?
No,
he was a second-round pick, but I think he's in the league for 4 or 5 years.
I'm just wondering. If you had to compete in an arm wrestling contest with a head coach from another ACC school, who would you choose? Oh, I'm choosing your boy at Wake. I'm smoking his old ass.
No, dude, he's thick. Have you seen
he's pretty big.
He's
I
old.
would say Mac. I would say Mac Brown.
Brown's good.
Oh, I forgot about Mac. You might kill him. You'd shatter his arm.
Yeah, with these guns? Are you kidding?
I think I'd go with Shane Beamer, and if I had to cheat, I would cheat.
But he'd blame it on you cheating, whether you cheated or not. He'd blame you on it.
Yeah, he'd tell everybody that he had the right technique and everything else. And
the
lights.
His fingers didn't execute. Yeah, that's they're all former football. And Norvell looks kind of jacked now.
Nobody's saying
Lou Holt's still around.
No, nobody's
definitely arm wrestle
Norvell, but we're definitely saying Mac Brown. You got that right.
Okay, Mac Brown.
Mac Brown probably has old man strength.
Oh, he definitely does. But I feel like I got
have some faith in yourself.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you're not weak.
Yeah, we'll see.
First of all, you have old man strength.
Yeah, that's true. You're an old man too.
You ain't got that on me. I'm an old man too, man.
Yeah. We all got old man strength up in here.
Man.
There's no chance. What's more likely this season? This is from Michael. Old batted balls Peyton has one giant sack, or he grabs a bunch of smaller sacks. Okay.
Oh boy. All right.
So I would say this. I think he's going to have a great year, a huge year, and obviously he means impactful moments.
Yeah.
He's talking about big plays. Yeah. Will he be another? I
think he's going to have a pick six this year.
Oh,
I think he's going to bat it ball.
He answered the question
into the air and catch it and run it in for a touchdown. I think that's what he's been perfecting in the offseason. I think is not just batting them down. Not just what I always hated, Ira, as a basketball fan, is watching my shot blocker swat it into the stands.
Yeah,
I want him to catch it.
Yeah.
So I
was weird that hasn't become a thing.
Bill Russell,
he would tap it to Kuzi.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
We got a break.
Let's
go the other way.
Let's go the other way
against all these other short white guys. We're gonna crush them.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And yeah, so I think batted balls is gonna become intercepting balls, pick six balls into the end zone.
I like pick six balls.
We can keep it moving.
Real quick, my bathroom story. So I think I told you this, but not you this. So in those bathrooms, let's just say I left.
You did something. You can't.
I am telling this story. I don't care.
No, we're not doing it. I don't want to hear the story.
But now people are going to really be.
You got to tell them on Wake Up.
Okay.
There you go. We're not doing.
We're telling an abbreviated version.
Yeah, very abbreviated and appropriate.
Let's just say that the stall, not the urinal, but the stall, Usually you can tell if somebody's in there.
That's correct. So you open the door on somebody?
No. I tried to open the door and it didn't budge initially. And I'm like, well, it kind of felt like there was some give there.
You start really yanking the door?
No. I go and I back up to see if I can see feet. But the stall goes down so far to the floor. There's only like 3 inches.
He needed to go to the stall.
And I needed to get to the stall. And you can't see the feet. So I get down on all fours to see if I can see feet.
Which you first of all, you realize you're in a bathroom.
Yes.
Why are you on all fours ever in a bathroom?
Because I had to use
other
the
than
stall.
Violently puking.
And if that person sees you doing that,
oh my God, he's
I'm calling the police.
Yeah, or I'm beating your head.
Well, so as I'm on all fours, peeking to my left to see the shoes that I see,
right? That's not normal.
The door opens behind me and somebody walks in, and I hop up and go, "Yep, somebody's in there," and walk out.
And this is.
I'm almost 50.
This is a media event.
Yes.
So somewhere in the
It
Carolinas,
could have been Tom Brenneman.
There's
for all I know.
somewhere in the Carolinas, some guy's telling this story from his perspective.
You should have seen. I walked in on a dude,
this bald guy,
peering underneath. I mean, what in the
he covers FSU.
First, he's on all fours in a restroom.
My head under the urinal, looking to see the stall. I mean,
what would you have? Oh, Corey,
I had to do some stuff. I had to go.
I get you had to go to the bathroom. There are multiple stalls.
No. There was only one that you could do that in. That was sorry.
In that bath, were you upstairs in the ballroom?
The
I was
third
at
floor.
There was
Yeah,
a bunch of them.
Yeah. No, I didn't expect anybody to be in there, and I panicked.
One.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I should have done it in the urinal. That's something nobody does anymore.
They never should have. Moth writes, do y'all think Coach Ham can still dunk a basketball? No, since the injuries, no. But that time, that ship has sailed.
You say Coach Ham?
Yeah. Jeff, yesterday mentioned Preston Parker had that look in his eye. Has Ira ever had that look in his eye at either of you? Oh, so you guys didn't hear. So I was talking about dudes that you would not mess with. That had a look, a glint in their eyes, some sort of
glint in their eye.
Like some sort of look like they'd seen some things and been involved in some things. I don't know. Just some people have that look where you realize, like when you square off with somebody, if you've ever been in a fight, there are people who look like they're not afraid to die.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to fight people who aren't afraid to die.
For sure.
You want them to have something on the line, just like you do. Well, I said he was a player that I'm not toying around with, right? And so that's where that question comes from. No, Ira's never had that look. I think he's capable. He's had a perturbed look numerous times, a frustrated look numerous times, a disgusted look just now. But he's never had. Yeah, he's never. I've never seen the "I could cut your throat" look.
Yeah,
that I was referring.
Yeah. Corey and I have had a couple moments on the road.
But not where I thought you were going to cut my throat.
No.
I was going to say that'd be excessive, Ira. That would be a bit much.
I would love you to try, Ira.
You're talking about where you could cut the tension with a knife.
Yeah.
Where the car is silent for a little while, and then somebody has to break the ice again.
Right. Yeah, it usually wasn't silent.
No,
usually a lot of
the
yelling.
opposite of that.
Garrett writes, be honest, when Mike Norvell was hired, did you think he would be able to turn this team around? I don't think we knew. How could you know? I liked the hire because I was told by a bunch of people at ESPN who had done the interviews, the travel for games that do the sit down before the Saturday game. I got a call when it was rumored that it was going to be Mike Norvell, and this guy was a producer for one of those things and said, hey, by the way, you're going to be impressed by him. He's very impressive. But I don't know. I don't know that we could know that.
Yeah. And a lot of times media people are wrong when they say somebody's impressive and it turns out they can't coach at all.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't know. But no, when he was first hired, I thought the challenge was going to be that there was so much excitement because they'd done the fundraising thing for the Renaissance and all that. Mm-hmm. And then the rumors and some erroneous reporting about who was in and rumors about who was in the search. And then to fire a guy after a year and a half and to go get a guy from that conference, I thought was risky because
conference.
Yeah. I just didn't think that I wondered how much time he would get. I didn't know much about him as a coach. What I liked, the one game I watched was that championship game against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And I was impressed by how hard those guys played. Like that Memphis team didn't just play like aggressively you could tell, man, they hit on both sides of the ball. They were physical. They were tough. And I liked all that. Then he got here and it was like, okay, you could see he could coach, like being around him, talking to him, seeing how he coached. Okay, he can coach. But then comes the next question is, can he get the kids to buy in? Is he going to get enough time? Can he recruit? So, like, I don't know that I ever felt like, okay, it's definitely going to work.
No, nobody can say that. None of us, even the guys that loved him, couldn't say they won those going to work.
5 straight games or whatever. And
there's no guarantees, right? It's Saban and Urban Meyer, and we all hate Urban, but those are the only two that. Well, Kirby. Well, Kirby wasn't a guarantee, but he is now. He absolutely is now. Yeah. But it's like there's just no guarantees. All these guys.
There's a lot of circumstances. Napier might be a good coach.
Yeah, I actually tend to think he is. Now he's butchered some things, and but this is my concern. To your point, to echo that a little bit, with Mike, like, because they didn't hit the ground running, he was already beset by misfortune with COVID. Like, he couldn't even go meet high school coaches in the state and shake hands and develop relationships. So it's tough to recruit at that point. What I was thinking was he may get buried before he ever gets started. And that's why we were having conversations like he better have a winning season. In my opinion, I thought the year they won 10 games, they had to have that year or else he was screwed.
Well, and you listen to the players talk about it up at ACC kickoff, which I can't believe we were there Monday. It feels like it was a week ago.
Yeah, I can. That's a long damn drive back.
But
it was.
Did you come back that night?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you left.
No, I drove all the way through.
Me too.
1 o'clock in the morning.
You had to go to Atlanta, right? Or did you come all the way?
No, I just went all the way.
Oh, I thought you went to Atlanta. I didn't realize that.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Another cool story. I didn't get stuck. It was taking me away where I'm all in all these back Georgia roads.
Nobody, yes, I do it all the time.
Macon. And then I'm getting on 75 from one of these back Georgia roads, and I'm like, surely there'll be a gas station in the next 2 miles because I really have to pee. I have to pee. And no, I'm on this back road.
You in the bathrooms.
It's crazy. And it got to a point because it's such a Blair Witchy type, really scary, dark 2-lane road. I'm like, I can't pull over to one of these driveways.
I could die.
They're going to shoot me.
I could get shot. B, I could get,
And I was like, I'm going to have to pee in this water bottle. And this isn't easy to.
Hey,
yeah. But what I did was, I was like, I can't do anymore. I got to pull over. Once I saw I was going to be on this stupid 2-lane road for 11 more miles, I'm like, I'm pulling over. And I just, I stood out and peed. And I was looking for headlines.
There's nobody out there. It's okay.
No, just me and the cows.
Yeah, you and the cows and a whole lot of nothing.
But that's what we do, Ira, for this job is we do that kind of stuff.
It's dedication.
Yeah.
I was going to say something about ACC kickoff now, and I don't remember.
Tom Brenneman was there. I did see him.
Yeah.
The great Tom Brenneman from There's a Drive to Left.
Yeah, Castellano. Yeah. It's not the great Tom Brady. It is definitely not. We have to break. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
A single vehicle crash unfolded Wednesday afternoon in Jefferson County, leaving one man dead. FHB said it dispatched to the scene a little before 2 p.m. in the area of West Washington Street and North Main Avenue. The driver left the road and drove onto the grass shoulder before crashing into a tree. Other drivers stopped to try and help the driver, but he was later declared deceased by emergency services. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. Less than a year after JetBlue began servicing flights from the capital city, the airline has announced it will suspend all services from the Tallahassee International Airport. The JetBlue corporate communications team confirmed in an email sent Wednesday evening that JetBlue will cease all operations out of Tallahassee by October 27th. The team wrote that underperformance and lack of customer demand led to the end of operations at TLH. Leaders in the area have expressed shock and disappointment at JetBlue's decision. American Airlines, Delta, and Silver Airlines will continue to service the airport. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies this afternoon with storms likely. Highs level off around 92, winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, chance for storms, lows dip down to about 74. Thunderstorms likely tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 92, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 93.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, gotta get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You gotta trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com. There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel,
and Corey Clark. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
That's fine. People know.
Well, listen, I had to switch it over to program, and we got to go rapid fire.
Let's go.
Here we go.
No more bathroom stories, Ira. Let's go.
Tony writes, good morning, gents. Do we think Mike is going to run up the score in more games this year if he has a chance? I hope so. I would. I'd run the hell out of it.
Now, here's the thing, though. Because I felt like that last year. I felt like after the season, I felt like maybe if they had gone for style points more often, somebody checked me on that and was like, did they really not? And I look back, they just couldn't. Like they were in
close games a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't like they just sat on the ball. It was like they were just trying to make sure they won those games.
And they're not going to have a lot of chances this year to just blow teams out. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah,
there's real teams on the schedule.
I keep hearing how the SEC will greatly benefit FSU's recruiting. Let's say there are 20 schools in the P2 from the South and Southeast region. Would it not benefit FSU greatly in recruiting to be the only one selling nationally Big Ten over regionality, SEC?
I don't know.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're in a real conference, where
if you're out of the ACC,
you're going to get to play in 100,000 seat stadiums in either conference. That's what you sell.
It definitely. I mean, look, man. The reality is, these kids think the SEC is the NFL. That's what they think. Now
that doesn't mean the most amount of draft choices.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you. And ESPN, who's the mouthpiece for the SEC, beats everybody over the head with that. But that doesn't mean you couldn't recruit tremendously well in the Big Ten.
Oh, that's right. If the sport was not a factor, would you rather play for Mike Norvell or Link Jarrett? Well, that's tough because
sport's not a factor. It makes it challenging.
I think I'd say Norvell.
Me too.
I think I'd get along a little bit better with him. I think we would joke. I think we could joke around a little bit more.
The key here is to answer this without making it sound like you have anything against the other guy.
But I do. I hate Link, and I'm well on record of saying that.
I think Link
terrible
is
a
very strict red ass. And I mean that as a compliment because he's a really good coach.
Kind of straight-laced. Yeah. I think Norvell's straight-laced too, but a little looser laces.
Guys, without this being a depth chart question, what position is Duke Cooper getting reps at?
Mike Norvell said today that they played him some at nickel and safety already. So basically, he played corner before. They tried him at safety a little bit before he transferred to Colorado. It's going to be some nickel, some safety, some corner. And my guess is safety is where he ends up more, but we don't know that yet. They're just going to kind of see how it goes.
Corey, this guy Josh wants to know why you drive everywhere. Does he hate to fly? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Nate writes, I won tickets to the Masters for my first ever trip. That's awesome, Nate. The lottery is what you're referencing. You won. That's great. He says, should I yell, yay, sausage, or Herb Street sucks before I get kicked out? Because you will get kicked out for either, by the way.
You will. If you got a day, if you got a tournament, hopefully it's not a Tuesday or Wednesday because those aren't televised. I think, yay, sausage. We want to choose the light. We want to choose the light, not the dark, right?
Yeah, I think you want to. Let's keep it positive.
I like Herb Street sucks too, but I would think
it would be hilarious to be watching the Masters and hear somebody yell Herb Street sucks as somebody drives. Yeah, that would be funny. Scott writes, fellas, could you make it through the don't fumble drill where they try to rip the ball out of your hands, or would you immediately put the ball on the ground while Jeff points out and yells?
I think it would hurt. Like, especially if
I think you can hold the ball. I'm going to give you both credit. You
can
hold the damn ball.
Doing it, if they're like, oh, the old podcasters over here running through this drill, they're going to go out of their way to punch it out as hard as they can.
I will say the punching part. Now, the one where they just grab it.
Yeah, I'm holding the ball.
That's fine.
You're not taking the ball from me.
But dude, when they go to punch it,
it's a
they're
man's
usually
punch.
punching a dude. You're getting punched.
Yeah,
they're either
sucks.
punching the ball loose or they're punching
I'm telling you,
They punch your forearm.
Yes, and they're going to punch with emphasis because of who they're doing it against. It's not
they do it against each other.
I know, but they're going to even give a little more to us.
Gentlemen, is there a corner pocket send-off party before we all head to Ireland? Bill can serve registered sausage and drink Guinness. Well, I'm for that if he would like to
probably.
do it.
I mean,
Bill?
I'll be there before Ireland, so there you go. I don't know if that counts as a send-off party, but I'll be there.
But, Bill, if you're listening, I'd really be happy to eat registered sausage at your fine establishment while sipping on a Guinness.
Do you ever look under the stalls at CP?
I've never done that.
Okay.
I've never, I know people there, so I can go use a private bathroom if that comes up.
How about that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. I'm aware.
Celebrity.
I'm aware of where that bathroom is too. That's a good one. Yeah.
I am not.
RA writes, way to beat the shot clock, gentlemen. Does the ACC prevent FSU media from asking questions of the commissioner? No, they don't.
So what happened there was, and
was
I
annoying.
I know Chris Nee told me and a couple
He
other
was
people.
pissed.
I
He
think
had
we're
his hand up
trying to
straight.
ask for questions. But the problem is, man, that's a room of 150, 200 people.
Well, they go to the people they know.
Well, no, but it's also like there's 200 people. I mean, you're not.
The odds are there's only
people
6 FSU media, and there's 100 hands up. So.
No, I mean, they were like in front of, like, I thought about raising my hand because there was one question I wanted to ask, but like between me and Amy Yacola, who's calling on the people, there were 6 people with their hands up just in front of me.
But might I point out, it is a miracle then that David Teal gets asked every year.
Well, he's the
I was just going to say, and that David Hale gets asked every year.
They're the dean.
I don't know how amongst those 200 people they get picked every time.
Neither one of them got sandwiches.
David,
Daddy got a sandwich from Jim Phillips.
David Teal, David Hale, and Andrew Adelson are all going to get their
it's
questions.
automatic.
There's only one more coming.
Yeah, there's only 2 more questions out there.
You're going to get nobody else is going to get.
Sorry, Chris.
My point would be nobody else is going to get to ask a question.
Now, but I wasn't irritated by that because I never expect to get.
You also asked them at Amelia Island, right? You got them in there too.
But then I wanted to. What they would do in the past, and Swafford used to do this, and Jim Phillips had done it until this year. Was after that press conference, he would go off to the side. And you could go like in a gaggle around him and ask more questions. So that's why I was never worried about asking the question of the big thing. But this year they actually didn't do that.
Yeah, because he had to
get you a sandwich.
Yeah, I did ask him a question. Did he have any mayonnaise packets for me?
By the way, Colby got this in on Facebook, Corey. You'll like it.
Okay.
Jim Phillips knew all he really needed was a half-eaten Monte Cristo from Bennigan's to win Corey's loyalty.
It was basically a Monte Cristo, just not melted.
It didn't have the sugar.
Yeah, it didn't have the sugar. It wasn't melted, but it was all the other ingredients.
Yeah, I asked this the last time we had this conversation. The answer was yes, because that was years and years and years ago. Is it still yes that Bennigan's is alive?
I think there's a couple. I think there's still a couple somewhere.
I know there's a Blockbuster in Oregon. Is there a Bennigan's?
There should be. There should just be a street.
Good, man.
Well, let's go easy.
It's as good as the other ones in that.
They're all the same thing, pretty much. But I don't know.
It had more of a bar type feel, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, they had a bar in the middle of it. The thing about Bennigan's was in North Miami. That was where we would go a lot of times after football games to feel like we were adults.
It stayed open late.
And then the challenge was like stay long enough, but not so long where you couldn't just throw down $5 and leave.
Right.
Before
here we go.
Miami and Hill.
There it is.
Well, somebody was going to have to pay the gather up all the cash. You just didn't want to be that person.
The most trouble I almost got in was at a Bennigan's after a Bucks game. This is back when the Bucks lost every game all the time. Just kind of we beat the Eagles. It was a miracle. And one of my buddies,
the Randall Cunningham Eagles, or the Ron Jaworski?
No, the Randall. It wasn't Ron Jaworski. It wasn't. No. Anyhow, we won the game like 9-0. I had to go back and look. It was a crazy game. We won the game, and I think it was a block punt. It was ugly. It was ugly. But the Bucks won, and we went to Bennigan's, and my buddy's father was like, "I got y'all," because we were both underage. And I got a little loopy, And so when I was dropped off after that game, my mom's like, "What in the hell? You can't, you're not speaking words." I was like, "The Bucks won."
Did you tell him whose dad hooked you up?
I didn't. She knew. And so I said, "Don't make this an issue."
Don't make this an issue.
Get out of my way.
Don't make this an issue.
Don't ruin my buzz.
We just beat with Jaworski.
We just beat the Eagles, and he's a good man. He's a good man. Leave him be. Anyhow, yeah. So good old Bennigan's. We all have fun.
Yeah,
memories.
we all have great memories.
You're
of
half
Bennigan's.
eaten, used
Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo.
It was all eaten by the time I was
dining
done
and
with it.
dashing at it, and me getting blitzed
Yeah.
underage.
Hey, man.
God bless
I hope what
Bennigan's.
happened to Bennigan.
Of course they got to be around.
How
They got to
did
be
they not
around.
make it? It's tragic. For Corey Clark and Ira Chaffel, I'm Jeff Cameron. Thanks for listening. Everybody, say goodbye, guys. I got to keep the mics off. There it is. That's it. We'll be back with you with a live JCS tomorrow. Wake up, Warchant, all that good stuff. Be good. Until then, peace.
Summer Festival.